Welcome to Yeukai Business Show, UK's premier business show where we feature business thought leaders, high achievers, and industry experts. Today's episode is brought to you by World Outsourcing Solutions Limited, a company that specializes in helping executive business owners with virtual assistant services and business growth systems. Here's your host.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the show. It's Trevor Stockwell here, and my co-host for today is someone you know very well, Mr. Yeukai Kajidori. Hi Yeukai.
Hey, thank you for having me, Trevor. I'm so thrilled to be on the show because I know we're going to be talking to Holly, an incredible speaker, incredible entrepreneur. I will let you do the introduction, but I love Holly and what she represents, especially to us entrepreneurs and the people who believe in making a difference in the world. Holly, thanks again for joining us here today.
Oh, I'm so excited, gentlemen. So excited.
Awesome.
So let me just fill the listeners in a little bit before we dig into the discussion further. So Holly today, she's a global keynote speaker, an inspirational thought leader who's addressed hundreds of thousands of Fortune 500 executives around the world, and also impacted the hearts and minds of millions in over 160 countries worldwide with her podcast, A Celebration of You. And she's also recently released an app to inspire us all. We'll talk more on that in a little while. But Holly, maybe for people that have yet to discover your brilliance and your expertise, just tell us a little bit about your sort of background, your journey to get to the point where you are today.
Oh, Trevor, I love how you just said, tell us a little bit about, everybody's got a story, right? And we've all had a journey. So I have to say, and to be very honest with you, I never imagined that today I would be sitting here doing this and being very blessed and honored to be a messenger around the world. And I do believe that it's important to me to say that, when you find your soul's highest calling, I am a messenger of hope and inspiration and been very blessed to work with all types of people and leaders all over the world. It started, though, almost 20 years ago, a little more than that. And it's an amazing journey of when we just are ready to say yes to the doors that open and know when to stop forcing things up the river and let things flow. So does that dangle a carrot just to make you want to know, where did that really begin?
Absolutely. So I'm intrigued in lots of different ways, but you're very good. One of your expertise is helping leaders in particular kind of improve their performance. How did that all kind of get birthed? Did you kind of always know that was something that you were going to do, or is that kind of something you sort of almost stumbled upon?
I love that the way you articulated that, Trevor. And I will say that, again, one of those situations that it just started happening, that I started working with teams and doing a lot of working with leaders and teams, and go back 15 years ago, right? This is before we were even this global, but that's when virtual teams became a topic of conversation. And I was doing a lot with leaders, but it was time to start helping leaders lead teams in a virtual environment. And that's really what catapulted my passion for leadership. I had no idea where it would go because, to be honest with you, to me, you don't need a title to lead. Leading is about influencing, and it's about how we show up every single day of our life, even with the people we care about and the people we're closest to. So to me, leading is serving and supporting. And if you don't have that mentality, then stop being a leader. Just get out of the role. And not everybody wants to be a leader, right? I mean, I've worked with a lot of engineers and salespeople and high-level brokers. And isn't it a funny dichotomy? And I'm sure as you listen to this, you can probably remember many stories, but you become very good at something. You're a really good engineer, and suddenly your company, with all great intention, promotes you to now be a manager of engineers. Same thing for sales. Yeah. And then you wonder why you're dying on the inside because you're no longer doing what you love. So to me, leading is a privilege. Not everybody needs to say they need to be a leader, but we do lead every day how we influence. So you can tell that's why I get very passionate about leading, because it's more than just leading a company or your own company. As entrepreneurs, we are leading every day in our life, how we show up and how we're taking care of our business and our clients. You got me on a soapbox, Trevor. Did you see that?
It's good. I agree. Like if we can't successfully lead ourselves, then yeah, how would we expect to be able to influence others in a positive way? Whether we're business owners or, as you say, in the corporate world, with other managers and leaders and CEOs sort of looking at what we're doing. So just with regards to a lot of the listeners are business owners, they're entrepreneurs. What would you say would be a mistake that you've seen where people are either in the position of a leadership role that they don't want, or they just don't see themselves as leaders?
And this is interesting because as I'm listening to you ask me that question, I'm seeing two different buckets, okay? When you think about that question in relation to the corporate world and that question relative to being an entrepreneur and your own business. And I think if you were to look at it, and I'm going to combine the buckets for one moment, Trevor, and that's because I think a lot of people in the corporate arena, let's face it, yearn and desire to leave and start their own business. So I think if you look at all your clients out there, gentlemen, you'd probably realize that at some point they probably were working for a company or someone else, and then that desire to become an entrepreneur, they couldn't shake it anymore, so they go do it. And so taking it back to the two buckets, I think that what's most important is, are you leading a company, and your own company, that is? Because to me, when you're a leader in the corporate world, you better own it. And you better treat it like it's your own business. And these team members are human beings. These are people that, the three things that I always say to leaders, this is not rocket science, by the way. It's really common sense. It's just not common practice. All they need from you, I mean, they'll spend a day with me or 2 days in deep dive sessions. And I'm like, you don't need to go read a book. You don't need to take all these algorithms and assessments. What your people need more than anything, and for all entrepreneurs, I would beg you to take this to heart. Know me, care about me, and pay attention to me. Know who I really am. If you're leading me, do you know who I am? Do you even know what matters to me? Care about me. Care about knowing how to get the best out of me. That means knowing how to help me figure out where my strengths lie and my weaknesses lie. Knowing what triggers the best out of me, meaning what kind of praise and recognition I need. I mean, I have a whole program around this, but know me, care about me, and then pay attention to me. Not everybody wants to be micromanaged, but did you know some people actually like your attention? Because then they know you care. So we got to stay, to me, the biggest mistake, I'm going to go back to what you asked, Trevor, entrepreneur or in a company, the biggest mistake is we put labels on people's foreheads. We make a lot of assumptions without ever really asking a few questions and then sitting back and listening. So the art of asking the right questions and then listening, you can get to know a lot about somebody.
Amazing.
And that is a great leader and the biggest mistake of all.
Amazing. I love what you just tagged on, because not too long ago, perhaps 4 years, I discovered this very concept that if I could just prioritize doing this, I can get a lot more out of the people I get to do life with. To me, they're not just employees or people I get to sell my products to. They're people I'm actually doing life with. And if I know how to get their attention by simply giving them my attention, it was a game changer for me.
Well, I'm clapping for you. Look at me. I give you a standing ovation. Because you experienced it, Yeukai, right? You did. Yeah.
Yeah.
The challenge is discovering it and then taking action that backs it up, doesn't it? And gives you that release. So,
yeah. Let me give you two questions that the listeners could do right now. Okay. I know we're going to do takeaways, but I can't wait because it's right here on my heart, right? It's so simple and so easy. And just the fact that you just affirmed that you did this about 4 years ago. But two things you could go do right now after you get done listening to our show. And that is sit down individually with the people that are either on your team or the people in your world that you love. It doesn't matter who it is. Just simply ask, tell me about a recent success. Tell me what you've been working on that you're so proud. Wow. You'd be amazed how many people don't ask that. A recent success, something you've been working on that you're really proud about, and then tell me all about it. What made that successful? What is it about you what did you bring to the table that made that happen? Whether it's your strengths or your energy. And then the second piece to this is and literally pause and then be ready to listen. What are you looking forward to next week, next month, and next quarter? And how can you leverage the best of you to go make that happen? And then leaders, zip it. Be open, listen, and take notes, right?
Right.
Because you're gonna, I have to tell you, gentlemen, you'd be amazed how many leaders around the world that I've spent days in workshops doing this for. And they literally look at you like, wow, I've never thought to ask that. And I will get emails and phone calls. I'll tell them, call me, let me know how it went. It's shocking how many of them are blown away that I've had literally stories, testimonials of them changing their next one-on-ones and doing it just like that. And their team members, I'm not kidding you, dead pause, silence going, did you drink Kool-Aid? Did something change? You've never asked me this. Do you really want to know? Right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think, the key point there is once you've asked the question, it's like, listen. It's like, don't just nod your head. Don't just, start scribbling on a bit of paper. Actually listen to what they're saying and then follow through and see how you can kind of develop that within them to success. Yeah, no, that's key. So just on that, I will kind of almost take your lead on that anyway, but I'm keen to find out a little bit about the app because that's a recent development, isn't it? Tell us.
And can you tell I'm lighting up every time you ask something? You know when somebody's doing. Right? I mean, now this is another good moment. Look at the two of you. You're both glowing. You're in your element. You love doing this show. You love working with entrepreneurs, right? I can tell you've gotten me. I'm excited because I love sharing things that help make people's lives better. And so it's interesting. And you got to know the little story that goes with this. So for years, when you're done speaking, and whether it's in huge ballrooms or small full day events with small groups of teams, people always have asked, how can I get more inspiration from you, right? Like, how can I just get a little dose of something when I just need to be reminded? So as to why I did the book, right, and did the little inspirations, it's all about divine timing with everything. It was just going to be the right timing. And so a amazing developer and who's a part of my team, it was literally, and when I mentioned when the doors open, you have to be ready to say yes. I was literally flying home from what I did not realize would be one of the last live events that I would be doing last March because of COVID, right? Everything got canceled live. Yeah. Little did I know, I'm flying home and I was just in my meditation and prayer and I was like, this thing just said, it's time to create a daily dose of inspiration and the world needs it. And I literally got off the plane and I text Tony, who's on my team, and I said, I have something I want to run by you. I said, can we chat in the next few days? Gentlemen, I look you straight in the eye right now. He replies to my text. He goes, I've been writing an email that I'm going to be sending to you because I've had this idea percolating I want to present to you. So can we talk tomorrow?
Wow.
It was the same exact idea.
It's that moment that you know you are in the flow, everything is coming together and you just feel like I'm in the right place at the right time, just about to do the right thing.
You nailed it. And when you're in the flow, like again, stop forcing yourself up the river, get in the flow and amazing things happen. So from that conversation, it has been the most beautiful thing. So Trevor, thank you for asking. We launched it. My dream, are you ready? It happened on, I love numbers, on 11/11 of 2020. And we had no idea because, when you're doing apps, you got to get approved by Apple and Google. And there's just so much that goes on behind the scenes. We got the approval at 2/11 on 11/11 after all of everything. And we launched and it's been amazing. People are buying, leaders are buying it so that they can give it as gifts for their virtual teams because we're so limited on getting FaceTime with people. And more importantly, it's just a way to bring more hope and inspiration to the world. So I'm excited for you guys to get it. Oh. And we're adding lots of features to it. So we already have a feature. You get to interact with me, which that's very rare on apps. So look at Yeukai. He's like, I'm getting the app and I'm going to
I'm getting in there fast. One thing I've discovered, Holly, is when you see something that works, you better get yourself involved in that because that's how you move forward. And again, us meeting together in such a time as of this, I believe we're guided. There's a reason behind that. We may not be able to understand the whole thing, but we are here right now. So this could be my moment of learning something that can help me move forward in my business. So I'm all for, what is it that I'm learning right now? What is it that I can implement right now? How fast can I implement it? Once I implement, if it doesn't work, of course, I move on to the next thing. But I never want to lose an opportunity. I'm sure business owners, those that have been listening to me for a long time, know that you never say no to an opportunity until you have a good look at it, rather than to push things away. It's amazing.
It is. Well, you just said something, Yeukai, that I don't want anyone to miss. I also believe firmly, now this is, how I started this whole business. I did it by breaking all the rules, right? It's all been the non-traditional way, gentlemen. And yet you just said something. It's when you can really be so clear, and I want every entrepreneur that is a part of your world right now to listen to this. Serve one, serve many, serve many, serve none. Serve one, serve many. Get very clear on who you want to serve and what your expertise is to share with the world. So when I help people and coach them on being speakers, I finally have started sharing my secret sauce in a very exclusive way, because people always want to know, how'd you do it? They want to pick your brain. And I got done doing that for free phone calls for years. So I was like, no, we're not doing that anymore. But now it's, I find that it's about getting really clear on what's your higher mission. And ultimately, to start your business, if you're a new entrepreneur, what is it you're providing people? What makes you so special that you can give them something that is going to make a difference in their life? And when you know what that is, I believe you get to do what you and I, and probably a lot of people get to do if you're willing to do it. I turn down business, and I'm not afraid to say no. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle, right? We think we have to take, I've been there. I know what it's like to take every gig that's offered and then wonder why my health is going down the tubes, right? Because I can't keep up with the travel and the stamina, and it really affected me. But when you step back and realize there's a lot of people that could do better. I'm not your negotiation skills speaker. If you ask me, Yeukai and Trevor, to come speak at a virtual event, Holly, we want you to come teach our salespeople how to negotiate, I would kindly say, no, you don't. You don't. But I can help them figure out how to get their light and find their light to shine and figure out where their message is that's really hidden in their entire life story. And that's what most people miss. They try to find a way to start something out here instead of going here.
Yes.
Let go of the noise and all of the chaos and just get clear and silent and start listening to what's coming, the wisdom from within. And I think that's the number one most important thing people can start doing sooner versus later. And don't be afraid to say no, right? Like, it's scary. And I've done it thinking that the world's going to end and I'm never going to have this client again, but I just couldn't do it. And that's not what happened. They're like, oh, you can't travel on Sundays because you want to be with your family? Okay, we'll move the event. What time can you be here Tuesday?
Yeah.
I thought they would never want to work with me again, right?
I totally. If I could, I would just share my testimony. When I started with World Outsourcing Solution, we provide virtual assistant, as you know. At the beginning, I was taking literally every client I could get because, I was engaging in speaking events and also doing networking and all that. And everyone was willing to give me money. I would take them in. But after a very short few peps, maybe in my second year, I was burnt out, literally wanted to throw in the towel and say, I'm not doing this anymore, because I had the wrong type of clients coming in. They were prepared to pay, but I was spending way more time, serving those people that truly were difficult to work with. And those were good, some of my good clients, I was not giving them enough time, to the point that I thought, this is not working, until I had to step back and think, okay, who are the people I want to serve? They get what they want. I feel good about serving them, and they feel good about becoming my client and staying as my clients. It was after I made that decision, there was a temporal break in the loss of customers, that I started attracting the right type of customers. It's incredible. Again, you nailed it there.
Well, you know what I love? You really just defied go where the love is.
Yeah.
And that's very important to me. I choose joy. I choose to work with people that I want to work with. And I'm very adamant about that. And go where the love is, right? You had an entire experience of realizing, and I think we've all been there, where there's nothing left of us. You can't give the world when there's nothing left of you to give them anything anyways. And so just like your story, Yeukai, I mean, at the end of the day, you step back and you're like, I'm either going to throw the towel in or I'm going to recalibrate how and who I'm serving. And maybe that's the question that everybody could ask themselves today. I wake up every day and say, who can I serve? How can I serve? And what can I serve? And that doesn't always mean money, gang. Time, talent, and treasure. And if you're in a place of service to the world, trust me, the law of abundance will happen. Things will happen, but you've got to do it without expecting it. Just be finding ways to serve and go where the love is, just like we talked about earlier. I love your story.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. I like what you mentioned about focus and clarity about what you want to do. You mentioned earlier, just before we started the podcast, about vampires. Tell us a little bit more about vampires.
Wait, Trevor, I love the way you just remembered the word vampire.
That is real.
I love the way that just came out too. That was just like, tell us, Holly, about vampires. Okay, so because you said it in such a nice context, I'm going to take it to the very not nice context, which is I many years ago realized, why is it that you can be around people that you think with good intention you need to be or you should be? And by the way, I do a whole thing about stop shoulding on yourself, SHOULD. It's time to stop shoulding. And that's the emotional vampires. I mean, pay close attention to the energy of the people around you. And that's not just in your love world, right? And that happens in our own immediate families too. So there's boundaries and things you can put in place. Also pay attention to your work and your business and your clients and your teams, because emotional vampires is what I labeled them. So I love that you brought this up. They have this tendency because they are attracted to people like us, people that are vibrant, that choose joy. We give positive energy to the world. And so we are going to be a magnet to people that will suck the life out of us. And then you wonder why you're exhausted, depleted, and almost in a bad mood, and you don't even know what happened. Pay close attention, everyone, please. Ladies and gentlemen listening to this show, pay close attention, even in your most discretionary time, how the energy is affecting you, and start being intentional. I do this with my clients. I say, make a list of the people that bring out the best of you. Who do you leave their presence and you feel uplifted? Maybe it's clients, maybe it's colleagues, maybe it's friends. Start making intentional time on your calendar to even have a virtual coffee date with someone that you know you lift each other up. Kind of like our energy, the three of us. It's a positive. We all have a common denominator. Choose joy. Choose positive energy, right? The rest is a waste. So emotional vampires are not allowed in my world. And if they show up, you should see the sign, Trevor.
How do you show them the door? Shall I say?
There's a sign that just says, do not disturb, and don't even ring the doorbell. I think from time and years of working with people, and when you're very highly aware of it, right, you become aware of energy. And so, and I can be I'm not rude, but I'm very, very careful how we spend our discretionary time as well. Like, I don't live in the world of obligation. And I think that's an important topic to hit on for a moment, because you kind of already alluded to it, Yeukai, on the whole realizing you were going to throw the towel in, remember, with your business. Yeah. And I think that let go of feeling obligated to spend so much time and energy either on certain client work that's draining you. If the client's draining you, and trust me, I've been there. When you get ready to let them go, you open up a vacuum of so much business that could not have come in because you let go of the negative stuff, and amazing, beautiful things come. So let go of the fear of that and just let go of obligation, right? Choose where you want to spend your time. People are blessed to have you.
Yeah, it's amazing, really, Holly. You know, if you let them go, you set them free, they will be able to find someone who connects with them in a way they perhaps like, and you connect with people who connect with you, and it's a win-win-win situation, and you don't want to be in a stuck position. There is more good things going on out there that you can participate in. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Yes. Yes. See, I told you guys, you can talk about everything. You can open up a door and I'm going to go. I'm like, woo!
No, it's good. It's good. You've got so many different areas that, you've got experience, you've got expertise that you can share with everybody that's listening, kind of at whatever stage they are in their business journey and in their life outside. A lot of what you shared is practical for, everyday life as well, sort of before we go to the office or plug in, switch on at home to start work. Are there any other bits? You've mentioned quite a few kind of mistakes and pitfalls to avoid, which is very good, really practical. That people can put into place straight away. Any other kind of mistakes or maybe failures that you've had that you've learned from, or you've seen people sort of repeating over and over that you want to share, that you could just point out and help people to even navigate through if they're in it, or just step aside from it?
Yes, and I love that, because what's coming to me right away, and I will tell you, is that especially in the world that I live in, so when you think about having a global platform and being a speaker out there, and as I like to say, a messenger. And oh, by the way, and I'm so grateful that you introduced me as inspirational thought leader, because I don't believe, I will never call myself a motivational speaker. So very important first mistake, people, is be very clear on what your purpose is. Yeah. To me, I firmly believe motivation is intrinsic. You can inspire people to be motivated, but I cannot force you to go do anything. So that's very important distinction for me. And back to one of the first, I would say, if it's a mistake or maybe a mindset, I think mindsets can be a mistake, Trevor, right? Sometimes our own mindset and our own beliefs limit us, and they create the possible failures, or shall we say, they prevent us from looking at opportunities and opening doors. And I say that because I was caught up into what I see a lot of speakers get caught up in, which is people believe, and this is where I broke all the rules, and I was there once myself, that you could never be a true global presence making a difference in people's lives if you didn't get your best-selling book first. And that is something I coach a lot of people around, just so you know, because I never did that. I probably never will. You'd be amazed at the book proposals that I've gotten from some big publishers saying they'd like to do a book. That's not what Holly wants to do. And what I realized, and the fact that you asked me that, Trevor, is that I got stuck in that for a while. I'm not going to kid and lie to you. Back in 2007, 2008, I actually hired a ghostwriter because I thought to do what I needed to do in this world and to get to that place, I was going to have a best-selling book. And you know what? She was fabulous and amazing. And I finally realized, I don't want to do this. I'm going to pay you, and we'll just put that on the back shelf. And so again, I don't know if you'd say that's a mistake, but it's a mindset that limits us. So I would say to anybody out there, if speaking is something you truly believe you have a gift to do, but it's what about? What's your expertise? What is it? Then why do people want to listen to you? And if it's not about your ego, because I've seen a lot of people, and I choose to only work with people I want to work with, back to the choose joy and choose love. I don't just work with anybody. And I will say that just like you do with your business, gentlemen, is that if it's about ego and you want to be on stage to serve yourself, I want nothing to do with working with you. Yeah. And I'm very clear about that. Yeah. I need to know there's a mission and there's something much greater burning in your heart because you want to make a difference, whether it's in young children's lives, women's lives, men's lives, it doesn't matter. Does that make sense? It's like get clear. And mindset, I think we just hit on something, gentlemen. I think mindset's a big mistake for many people.
Yeah. There's almost like kind of like the unspoken mold that you have to follow to be successful. That's kind of easy to pick up in entrepreneurial circles. Like you say, if you haven't written a book, is anyone really going to listen to you? Are you only successful when you've written a book? Lots of different kind of potholes that we can easily get tripped up in on our journey of kind of self-discovery slightly, but also where do we best fit? It's like, where's the love that we should go to kind of thing and show. So no, it's very practical. Thank you for sharing all of those things. Yeah, I think if we get our mindset sorted, then life just works so much better, doesn't it? The interaction we have with others, the things we're focused on, the things that we manage to achieve. It all kind of makes a lot more sense. And as you say, we're not living for ourselves, are we? Or if we are, our world is very small.
Yes.
Eventually we come to realize there's a big world out there and I'm just a small part of it, and we're responsible, I think, for making other people's lives better. I think if everybody took that view, and yes, I'm still working on that in areas as well, just think how the world would be different if we all really adopted that. But maybe on this one conversation, we're not going to change the world, but maybe we'll sow some seeds that might get us all thinking a bit sharper as to the motives behind what we're doing, and also taking courage to say no to things that really don't serve our giftings in the way that we can help other people. And also just to embrace the things that is off the normal script. As you say, you're where you are without following the rules, but you've kind of broken them, I guess, from the sounds of it, not necessarily intentionally, but you've held true to your values of being authentic. And sort of focusing on the areas and the things that you can give. And would I be right in saying that is kind of gravitated you to where you are now and giving you opportunities that if you'd gone down the normal path, you just wouldn't have discovered them?
Absolutely. And you just gave me goosies. And I get goosies when I get I love you just brought up the word values, because I think that where all of us as human beings, we all struggle is pleasing the world, making sure we're fitting into the world's expectations of us. And when we can let go of that, and it doesn't happen easily, trust me, that didn't happen early in my life, but when you can get really clear on your core values and then align your decisions, your business, your world around your core values, you don't live with regrets.
No.
It's the most beautiful gift in the world to give yourself. And yet the biggest ripple effect is you're giving the world the greatest version of you.
Absolutely.
And it's such a beautiful way so the fact that you just brought up values, and I know we talked about this before we even started, but I'm very proud that I can say today, I never realized it, but I don't have a speakers bureau or an agent, and I'm booked out usually 2 to 3 years. And we are very blessed because it's all referral. And I think that when you have a business that's thriving, not surviving, but thriving, if you were to step back and look at your business, and like you do when you coach your clients, you'd probably find that those that are thriving, it's because the business is happening because it's referral. People love to work with you. You've made a difference. Now we want you back, or we want to help you do this to other people, right? And so the values piece has been very important. And the fact that you just asked me that was catapult for me to say, no, I'm not just going to go do this, and I'm not going to go do that. And I never did a TED Talk. I'm not saying I won't. I just want you all to know that you don't have to be a global speaker and do it the way the world tells you should do it. I think if you give yourself permission to start your business because it's about serving the world, and it's not the ego, it's the heart passion to serve, it will all come together.
Yes. You know what? We are coming towards the end of our time here, Holly, and I absolutely love, what you're sharing with us. And I certainly would love to have you back here and talk about other aspects of, entrepreneurship. But you've got something going on your podcast, the celebration of you. For those who wants to perhaps follow you on there, where can they find you?
Oh, and you're going to be a guest on my show. Oh, see, now everybody's going to hear that. They're going to know. Celebration of You, and it's on iTunes. It's on iHeartRadio. It's on SoundCloud. And yes, we're blessed to have listeners all over the world, just like yourself. And I have to tell you that, again, the podcast was a nudge from above. I felt like I was very, very blessed to meet incredible, extraordinary people. And I want you to hear this, at events that would stand in line to want to share a story of something that impacted them, just from us being together, whether it was a big event or small, that here was the important thing. I realized that there's so many people that have overcome such immense adversity, like myself, and it took me years before I would even talk about it. But I would meet these amazing people and I'd be like, they're not on the cover of People magazine, and yet their story of overcoming adversity and choosing to live an extraordinary life, not just for themselves, but for other people, their stories need to be shared. So you could listen to anybody on my show. There's people from all over the world, and you'll notice I always go to the story behind the story. It's who you really are that's made you the person you are today. And I want people to hear this. The adversity that you have faced in your lifetime, has it made you bitter or does it make you better?
Yes.
Because I do believe that we have gifts that are given to us. Sometimes they don't look like them, but through the greatest trials and tribulations, you are refined.
Yes.
So that's the show, and we're going to have fun when we do that show.
It's going to be amazing. People are going to discover another aspect of me, which I hardly share. I believe it will be that exciting.
Yes, I'm even more excited.
Find you on social media and maybe your website.
Oh, please. We're all over social media. We're on everything from LinkedIn to Facebook, Twitter. My website is hollydowling.com. And a gift that I'd love to give to all of your listeners. So when you go, if you want to go to hollyism.com, just hollyism, it's with a hollyism.com. You get to access the brand new app that we released and go down to the account settings. And if you were on this show and you listen to this show, put in the word celebrate, and you will get your first week completely complimentary of Daily Dose of Inspiration. So I would love your listeners to be able to explore that.
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you on behalf of everybody who will be doing this. We truly appreciate you. In fact, this always sets you apart because you're always out there to add value to people, which is amazing and incredible. We appreciate that a lot.
Thank you. Awesome. I love being with you both. This has been a joy. Obviously, choose joy. Choose joy.
Definitely.
Well, I always like to finish with this, Holly. If you were to do this all over again, this journey as an entrepreneur, what would you change? Maybe one thing, maybe you're not going to change it. Maybe it'll be something that you can do straight away, not later on. What would that be?
Great question. And if I could change anything, I know I would not have held back on pursuing and following the divine nudge to be doing this more and more and more. I held back because self-talk mindset was, why are you worthy? What makes you worthy enough to do it? But I've always been an entrepreneur since I was a little girl. We should talk about that on another show. I was starting business at the age of 7 years old. My poor parents, right?
Yeah.
So you can kind of look back and see the butterflies on your shoulder, right? Like, that you had the propensity when you were younger for these things. But I kind of got myself in a really bad rut and mindset. And that was during a certain time of my life that I didn't think I was worthy enough. So if I could change anything, I would be able to look myself in the mirror and say, you are enough for just who you are today. And people need to hear your story, because it took years before I would start peeling back the layers of the onion. So that would be the one thing I change, because I'm blown away at how many people's lives get healing and hope when they hear stories from people like ourselves, that they go, what could you have possibly been through? Yeah. Right? And then we share and we give them hope, and then we heal. When we reveal, we heal a little bit more.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. With me and my dear friend Trevor Stockwell was Holly Dowling, who's an incredible entrepreneur, somebody who's out there helping other people do what they do best. And what a joy it's been to have you, Holly, on the show today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Holly.
Yes. And if you want to learn more about what Holly is about, just click the link below. You'll be taken straight to her website. And if you've got any questions, you can shoot her an email or send us an email. And the guys, including myself, there we will be able to support you. Listen, we believe in what you're trying to do. We are pulling for you, and we believe you can do that. So don't give up. Stay with others. We do this together. With that said, have a great day, and I look forward to catching up with you on another very special episode. And goodbye for now. Thanks, Holly and Trevor. Goodbye for now.
Blessings. Bye.
Bye-bye.
You guys are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Yeukai Business Show. We will be back to bring you more episodes with success stories and advice straight from the experts. Want more? Check out www.yukaibusinessshow.com. Get your free trial of our virtual assistant service today. Just visit www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com. Quote WOS18 or send us an email at support@worldoutsourcingsolutions.com.